This is a Zach Feldman Show replay on ZRadioLive.com.
The website music station Z Radio Live. This is the Zach Feldman Show. Joining me over the phone is an author. Her name is Jessica Gaber, and she has a brand new book called God is Preparing Me. Jessica, thanks so much for joining me here on the Zach Feldman Show. How's everything going?
You're welcome. It is going pretty good, actually. It's probably one of the best times it's actually been for me.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm glad to hear that. First, tell us about this book. Obviously, it came out in 2020, but it's called God is Preparing Me. It's kind of your life story, but tell me all about it.
Yes. So it starts out with basically the day I was born, and then goes to the day of basically graduating, turning 18 years old. I struggled with a lot of mental health and suicide thoughts, and I've struggled with my sexual identity, and I've had some weird paranormal stuff in my family happen, and it's just all that is in the book, talking about all the amazing stories I have been through.
Well, tell me about the paranormal stuff, because I'm always interested in the paranormal. What happened to you?
So some of the weird paranormal things as my grandma has spoken to Jesus a few times, and before I was born, she got a message saying that they will be married less than a year. Less than a year, my aunt and uncle and mom and dad were married.
Wow.
And then before I was even a thought, she got another message saying that a little girl named Jessica Lynn Gaber will be born. And my name wasn't even planned as Jessica Lynn at all. I was going to be a Bethany Marie. And so when she got to the hospital and picked me up, my mom said, "Here's Jessica Lynn." And yeah.
Wow.
So since then, I've had a good childhood, but I've had a rough childhood at the same time. And took me a long time. I was frustrated with God and like all that. But eventually now I'm at a point where I'm actually thankful for everything I went through, because it's put me to where I am today. And it's made me a good person.
So tell me about, kind of some of the struggles that you've been through, in your life. What can some readers expect when they're reading it?
Well, I've had sexual abuse twice in my life, and they can read that. There is a trigger warning that I put on the top, so if people don't want to read that, they don't have to. I've been in bad car accidents, verbally, emotionally abusive. I've had some physical abuse as well. So,
oh, well, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that,
right.
But I'm glad you survived it and you're past it, because it's really important, to reflect on it and to grow from it too. Obviously it's a horrible thing you've been through though. But what do you have? What kind of inspirational words do you kind of have for those who are, picking up the book today and just, learning about this?
I would say that I know, like, if you're going through something like that, it's really, really hard. And I know it's cliche, but really do not give up. I'm a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. And you might not understand it right when this bad stuff's going on, but in the future, I promise you it would be better, because God has a plan. He really does.
100%.
The three sayings I always go by is pray, faith, and believe.
Mm-hmm. And
so those are my main things I always go by. So just stay positive. It will be okay.
100%. And I agree with that completely, and it's great that, you're kind of telling your story out there for those who are going through the same thing to kind of reflect on it and also, kind of cope with it at the same time too. Some other books you also written, this isn't your first book, you've written two other books as well. I Told You Not to Tell Part 1, which just released, and then Iris and the Puppy that also released earlier this year. First I wanted to ask you about, is that your actual puppy, Iris?
Iris is my actual niece.
Oh, that's cute. So you named the puppy after your niece.
So I kind of wrote it. No. So I wrote that book before my niece was born a little bit, and it's basically just a story about her getting a puppy someday.
Oh, that's very cute. Are you, is this like a children's story, or like, what was your idea behind it?
Yes, Iris and the Puppy is a children's story. I love kids. Kids love me. I seriously feel like I have a purpose with something with kids. I don't know what yet. But, yeah, so I wrote that book, and I just thought people, little kids and their moms would love to read it to their child.
100%. You know, it's such a cute little cover too, and the illustrations are awesome in it too. Who did you get to do the illustrations with you?
I don't know how to say his name exactly, but honestly, I found him on Fiverr, and he did an amazing job. I just had to fix up a little bit of stuff. But yeah, he literally got my vision of what I was trying to get at, because my sister and my her fiance are very like trippy wise, and so I wanted like a Grateful Dead type of stuff to be in the story, and so they're dressed up with those type of clothes, and he got it. The guy got it.
That's amazing, and that's so cool. You know, I'm glad that you were able to kind of get that style too. You know, when you go into writing a book, obviously, you know, it seems like you put a lot of your family first and your actual experience. But, you know, tell us, like, what's your writing process like?
So what I like to do is I like to just write it all down on paper. And I always try to start out with like a catchy headline and then some paragraphs, and then the conclusion kind of fitting all the paragraphs. And so after I write it all out, then I like to type it up on the computer. And I'm not the best with spelling and grammar, so I had to have a few people check out and read them to make sure it was good. But so then, yeah, after I type them, and then I have people read them and see if it sounds good or not.
And one more thing, too, you know, I want to talk about I Told You Not to Tell Part 1. I mean, that's just a brand new book that just came out, and it's kind of like this fictional story. But tell me all about it.
So that one's a really intense story. So the first part is just about a little girl that is being abused by her gymnastics doctor, and her struggles of going to school and stuff, and people finding out about her being abused, and then eventually gonna have a part 2 with a huge twist, and I'm not telling anyone that twist yet.
Well, you know, I think it's such a hard story to, you know, to kind of portray in a sense, because it's such a difficult thing to talk about. But I'm glad, you know, you kind of got it out there too for this book. It's I Told You Not to Tell Part 1, and it's on Amazon right now. What do you kind of expect for Part 2 though?
Part 2 is a big twist. You have to read Part 1 to understand a little bit. So when you get to Part 2, you'll be like, whoa, I did not see that coming. Well, I don't think I've ever seen a movie or TV show with my little twist I'm thinking of.
Well, I'm excited for readers to pick it up, especially horror readers to pick it up too. Jessica Gaber, you know, where can people get your books and where can people find you?
Well, social media. My name is Jess Gaber on everything, TikTok, X, Instagram, all of it. And then on Amazon, just look up Jessica Gaber.
Awesome. And you can check out all of her books on Amazon. Just search up Jessica Gaber on Amazon Books and on Kindle as well. Jessica, thank you so much for joining me here on the Zach Feldman Show, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Anytime. The Webzy Music Station, Z Radio Live, back with more Zach Feldman Show after this.
Want to hear more? Listen to the Zach Feldman Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ZRadioLive.com.